Keep it up. See you next time on The Chase Australia.
Our camera crew attacked on America's battleground. Tonight, police move in. Washington erupting in violence.
Fired at with rubber bullets. My cameraman has been hit.
The Prime Minister calls for an investigation into the behaviour of US authorities. A nation at war, Donald Trump mobilises the military. George Floyd's brother calls for calm. Breaking news, reaction in Sydney. Protesters shut down city streets. Will Cross live. New South Wales back in action. More lockdowns lifted. A date set for the return of gyms and team sport. Australia's streaming wars. The new service set to shake up the entertainment game. And the Eels reveal the secret behind their charge to the top of the ladder.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. Declaring himself America's law and order president, Donald Trump has vowed to dominate violent unrest with soldiers, putting the US military on standby if the states can't take control. As the country spiralled through another day of chaos, police cracked down with indiscriminate force. Images of our US cameraman and our correspondent Amelia Brace caught up and under attack, now the subject of a looming investigation.
Outside the White House, 30 minutes before curfew, police begin their attack.
We've just had to run about a block as police moved in. We've been fired at with rubber bullets. My cameraman has been hit. We've also seen tear gas being used. Here we go, they're moving through again. This is exactly what it looks like. Exactly what it looks like. We're just staying safely. Media!
And now they're... You see what's going on now.
Member of the press.
Now there's just a lot of violence erupting.
Hit with a shield in the stomach, a punch to the lens. Another officer lashes out with a baton as we run, trying to get out of an early surge.
You heard us yelling there that we were media, but they don't care. They are being indiscriminate at the moment. They chased us down that street, and as you see, they were firing these rubber bullets at everyone. There is tear gas, and now we are really surrounded by the police, and you really saw the way that they dealt with my cameraman, Tim. They're quite violent, and they do not care who they're targeting at the moment.
Hands up! Don't shoot!
The president is watching this and minutes from addressing his nation.
We're moving back, we're moving back.
Amelia, we're going to go low and across the street there, okay?
Yeah.
On my shoulder.
Yeah.
With the crowd as we're driven blocks back, people around us have hands in the air as tear gas flies. 4 minutes later, Donald Trump in the Rose Garden.
All Americans were rightly sickened and revolted by the brutal death of George Floyd.
The sound of tear gas canisters behind him.
I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order.
Night 7 of riots, the commander-in-chief came with an arsenal.
We will end it now. Today I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
A president vowing anarchists will be squashed.
These are acts of domestic terror. The destruction of innocent life and the spilling of innocent blood is an offense to humanity and a crime against God. And now I'm going to pay my respects to a very, very special place. Thank you very much.
Just minutes after he finished,
A citywide curfew is in effect. 7 p.m. tonight.
police clear the street. A rally tear-gassed. Military police with rubber bullets.
This was a peaceful protest until just now.
Peaceful protest!
Forcibly cleared out. silenced as right on curfew, the president appeared, leaving the White House grounds.
Mr. President, your thoughts right now?
He crossed the street for the Church of the Presidents and, before a boarded-up building, held up a Bible.
It won't take long. It's not going to take long.
Calling in his team for a photo.
We have the greatest country in the world. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to keep it nice and safe.
He sanctioned the use of tear gas by police officers in riot gear to clear the church guard. I am outraged. I just can't believe what my eyes have seen tonight.
On an earlier phone call, he'd blasted state governors as weak.
You're going to look like a bunch of jerks. Just dominate.
Democrat states have already rejected his military offer.
A force on the ground is both unsustainable militarily, it's also unsustainable socially because it's the antithesis of how we live.
The National Guard now already on White House grounds, and at least 23 states rallies into the night under close watch.
And Amelia Brace joins me live now. Amelia, we've all watched those disturbing scenes. Are you and your cameraman Tim okay?
Well, Mark, it all happened so quickly. We were quite some distance from that line of police and we weren't expecting any sort of crackdown until curfew. And I think that surge that you saw really took a lot of people by surprise. But yes, myself and my cameraman Tim are okay. We're a bit battered and bruised, but on a whole, we are fine. And we've also checked a number of times that as media, we are exempt from that curfew. Despite that, here tonight, we are being told by the Secret Service that we cannot leave the front of our hotel.
You've had a very tough day. You've done an extraordinary job, Amelia. Thank you. Prime Minister Morrison has ordered an urgent investigation into the police attack on our crew. Political editor Mark Riley joins me now. Mark, what action is he taking?
Mark, Scott Morrison has directed Arthur Sinodinos, our ambassador in Washington, to help 7 News seek a full investigation into this violent attack on our team. President Trump called Mr Morrison shortly after the incident to talk about September's G7 meeting, but Mr Morrison's office says the Prime Minister was unaware of the attack at that time. He has since called it troubling. Opposition leader Anthony Albanese has gone further. He says it was a completely unacceptable assault. Covering protests is a dangerous business, but the media's role is essential. We are the eyes and the ears of the people. In this case, witnessing the social disintegration of our most powerful ally. Our team was attacked with riot shields, shot with rubber bullets, and Amelia Brace there hit in the back with a police baton while running for safety. Also, President Trump could have his photo taken outside a church holding a Bible. A pathetic political stunt. Australia and America are celebrating 100 years of mateship. This is not how mates treat each other. Mark.
Mark Riley in Canberra. Well said. Looting and vandalism have continued from coast to coast. Los Angeles saw legitimate protests, but also opportunistic crime. Scenes repeated in New York, where looting moved uptown from Soho on Sunday night to Fifth Avenue just hours ago.
Battleground New York, as an 11 p.m. curfew fails to stop a fifth night of looting and violence. Among the targets, Macy's in Herald Square, Bergdorf Goodman, Nike on Fifth Avenue. In downtown St Louis, 4 police officers were shot after tear gas was fired into a crowd of protesters. And in Los Angeles, a police car burns on the Hollywood freeway, an unsettling sight in a city set to explode. Here in the San Fernando Valley, armed shopkeepers confront looters.
So these are looters squaring off with community members holding weapons.
Bystanders flag down police.
Here comes the cops.
But they arrest the shopkeepers as the thieves sneak away.
They're protecting the stores. Their looters are over there.
Stand down for a sec, please.
Police eventually catch them. Other arrests at this Hollywood drugstore. Arrests too for simply being on the streets. A 6 p.m. curfew applied to LA, even earlier in Santa Monica and Beverly Hills.
The curfew is now in place here in this part of Los Angeles, and now police are moving in to deal with the crowd that won't go home.
In several places, police surrounded protesters until after the cutoff and then arrested them.
These people are all going to jail because of the curfew.
Earlier, protesters marched on Hollywood Boulevard, down the Walk of Fame and on Sunset. And here in Van Nuys, confronted by hundreds of heavily armed riot police backed by the National Guard. Elsewhere, citizens pitched in to repair the weekend damage.
The people who did this just came in for a quick buck.
A police officer choked this woman's brother to death in 1982.
Has enough changed in this country?
Not no time soon.
It's around 1 a.m. in Los Angeles and Paul Caddick joins me now. Paul, what's it like there at the moment?
Well, Mark, it's come to this. LA's world famous Hollywood Boulevard is under guard tonight. Scores of police are patrolling. Thousands of National Guard troops have been deployed to try and make this curfew work, and it has finally quietened down in the last few hours. But even having all those resources didn't prevent today's trouble. LA's mayor said he had a message for those smashing and looting, simply, "We will arrest you," as authorities now brace for what tomorrow may bring. Mark.
Paul Caddick in California, thank you. A week after George Floyd was killed in custody, an official post-mortem examination has ruled it to be homicide. That development came as his brother delivered a powerful speech calling for calm to return to America's streets.
Terrence Floyd overwhelmed. Sobbing and saluting. His brother was killed right here a week ago. Now there's a memorial and a platform to send a message America needs to hear.
My family is a peaceful family. My family is God-fearing. If I'm not over here messing up my community, then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing, because that's not going to bring my brother back at all.
Calling on looters and rioters to, in his words, switch it up, break the cycle and to vote.
Educate yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you who's who. Educate yourself and know who you're voting for.
After days of unrest, the Floyd family is calling for calm, and this right now is perhaps the most powerful voice in this city.
Peace on the left.
Powerful gestures too, a handshake with a stranger, a few words and a hug helping heal.
Just to share that moment with someone and to know about what happened here, it was a life-changing experience.
After days of unrest, Minneapolis is a city eager to show another side.
We wanted to bring more awareness to how peaceful it is out here.
The people are getting fed up, and, you know, we just hope that this time it's not for nothing.
George Floyd's death now ruled a homicide.
The ambulance was his hearse.
An independent post-mortem examination finding he was starved of oxygen when one of the 4 officers held him down with his knee for nearly 9 minutes.
He couldn't breathe, asphyxia due to compression of the neck and of the back, and that's homicidal.
I want to see them charged. They were accessory to that murder.
A push for justice and for peace.
And Ashley Maloney joins me once again from Minneapolis. Ash, have the crowds heeded that message from Terrence Floyd?
Yeah, for the most part, Mark, demonstrations have been peaceful here in Minneapolis today. Police, though, will be on high alert come next week when Derek Chauvin will face court. His appearance pushed back to next Monday. The Floyd family, having now received that independent autopsy, want to see his charges upgraded from third-degree murder to first-degree murder. Mark?
Ashley Maloney in Minneapolis, thank you. Now, as we go to air tonight, a large crowd has gathered in Sydney CBD for a solidarity protest. Miley Hogan joins me from there. Miley, how many people have turned out?
Good evening, Mark. Well, there are around 500 people here this evening to show their support for protesters in the US and the entire Black Lives Matter movement. They started in Hyde Park and walked down to State Parliament before gathering in Martin Place. Organisers of this event say that it is also an opportunity to bring attention to some of the injustices suffered by Indigenous Australians, focusing on deaths in custody. The video of George Floyd has angered people. Protests have resonated with the crowd. There is a police presence here this evening, but this has been a peaceful march.
Now there is a movement, there is momentum happening, and people are not backing down.
Well, I think it's cool that the cops ain't bum rushing us and trying to kill us right now, trying to run us over with SUVs or horses.
The crowd is now moving down to the US consulate. Earlier, they took a knee in front of State Parliament and took a minute's silence for George Floyd and everyone who has died in police custody. There are more protests organised for later in the week, Mark.
OK, Miley Hogan in a noisy CBD. Thank you. A policeman has been placed on restricted duties during an investigation into the arrest of a 17-year-old Indigenous boy who allegedly threatened the constable in Surrey Hills yesterday. The teenager's friends have accused the officer of brutality.
You just slammed him on his face. What? Oi! What the f***? You just slammed him on his face.
We're not the United States of America. As I said, we've got great relationships with our local community. We'll continue to work with our local community as we move through this and get to the bottom of the circumstances around it, OK?
The boy was treated in hospital and allowed to go home. It's time to dust off the joggers with group sport and fitness to officially resume in New South Wales over the next 4 weeks. Gyms and a host of other fitness facilities will be allowed to reopen on Saturday week, with children's sport to resume on July the 1st.
200,000 soccer juniors benched for 10 weeks, now game on. The government today relaxing more of the state's lockdown laws, green-lighting community sport for juniors.
From DY to Dubbo, community sport for under 18s is returning July 1.
And from June 13, Saturday week, gymnasiums and fitness centres headline a list of other openings. Community centres, dance studios, Pilates, yoga, indoor pools, saunas, tattoo and massage parlours. A maximum of 10 per class, 100 per venue. All to be carried out under strict social distancing rules.
Effectively losing every second machine. Pretty much.
At Anytime Fitness, they were starting to think the government had no time for fitness. This news, a breakthrough.
It's amazing. It's great. It's the best thing for us.
Business had been a battle, especially after the school opposite was declared a virus hotspot.
The phone did not stop ringing. I think we put 140 people on freeze that afternoon, and everyone, it was just panic stations.
Tough too for thousands forced to do dance lessons via Zoom video classes. 10 per studio, better than none.
Cautious, but excited about getting kids back into the space.
Difficulties too for sports like netball. They'll be worse off. The adult competition subsidises the juniors.
If we don't get a start date for our seniors, that we may lose them to the sport, along with their financial contributions, which would then put everything at risk for us.
Similar for soccer.
28% of our players are seniors, but they contribute around 50% of the fees to community clubs.
The government admits they're still finalising policy details, like parents on sidelines.
That's a good question.
But they promise if June goes well, more laws will change in July.
It won't be exactly like it was, but it sure as heck is going to be as close as possible.
More moves too for the Queensland borders to be reopened. A group of businessmen and travellers formally filed a High Court challenge yesterday, arguing to keep the state closed was unconstitutional. That as a more traditional protest started on the border, the Tooting for Tourism campaign. Chris Reason, 7 News.
Fire crews have had to stop bushland igniting after a truck burst into flames on the M1 north of Sydney. It shut northbound lanes just past the Hawkesbury River Bridge at Bar Point. No one was injured, but there were lengthy traffic delays. The charred truck will be salvaged after peak hour. Federal Labor says Canberra's next coronavirus stimulus package must include money to build houses for heroes. The push to help frontline workers live closer to their jobs comes as the Morrison government finalises a spending plan to boost housing and construction.
COVID milestones.
Today, we are expected to reach 1.5 million tests in Australia.
20 Australians in hospital, 3 in intensive care, just 1 on a ventilator. The pandemic health threat controlled for now. The economic threat is far from controlled.
The pipeline of projects for housing is about to drop off a cliff.
The Morrison government plans to announce construction stimulus this week. Labor wants social housing for
nurses, cleaners, bus drivers,
those who can't work from home.
More affordable rental accommodation for the people that have kept us safe through the last few months.
The Arts Minister helped reopen Canberra's National Gallery. He's also designing stimulus for
organisations and institutions as they think about planning, for example, a new show, a new exhibition.
This as the government braces for a rare set of economic growth numbers tomorrow, widely expected to show the economy is shrinking. And a Senate inquiry hears new evidence on unemployment. In mid-March, 800,000 Australians were on job seeker or youth allowance. 11 days ago, it had more than doubled, and 45,000 more had applied. Tim Lester, 7 News.
Time now for a check on our weather, and Brownie, that cold wind packed some bite today.
Oh, it sure did, Fergo. In fact, it cut to the bone. It's been a day of extreme wind chill, especially for our coastal suburbs and across the Blue Mountains. In fact, it felt like sub-0 degrees in Katoomba all day. But in the city at the moment, well, it feels like 6 degrees. And as we go to the radar, we see showers, well, clip coastal areas this morning before moving offshore. The highest reported total is 5 millimetres in Little Bay. The city picked up 4 millimetres up to 9 o'clock this morning, less than 1 millimetre in Parramatta, not a drop in Penrith. To the north, have a look at this. It snowed in Armidale. Just some teasing morning flurries, not enough to stick on the ground, but of course it is the first fall for the season. Back home, dry and partly cloudy tomorrow under a cold and somewhat vigorous southerly wind for your Wednesday. Local forecast in detail, top of the hour, Fergo.
Righto, thank you. He's accused of looting artwork from the scene of a fatal fire on the Central Coast. Next, drama outside court, what sent the suspect running. Plus, raging inferno, a family's quick thinking as their house went up in flames. 2020, a space odyssey, a live tour from some history-making astronauts. Later, the new player in Australia's streaming wars, popular titles at competitive prices. And in sport, a boost for the injury-hit Sharks as they chase their first win of the season.
7 News, brought to you by Aussie.
Home. It's not just a place we're stuck in. It's home-cooked meals, home workouts, homeschooling, working from home, home movie nights, and movie days. It's see you when I get home. Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
We're actually in the grand final, the big JF.
Over 3 massive nights.
Teams, welcome to House Rules Grand Final.
Bring it in, boys!
It's the epic Grand Final Challenge.
Here we go, eh?
Let's go!
One team will be crowned House Rules champions.
House Rules Grand Final Challenge. Tonight, 7:30.
The stylish Haval H2. A globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
What can you get at Kogan.com? You can make a family, bake a family, escape your family, protect your family, destroy your family, entertain your family? Oof, maybe not. Get it quick smart at Kogan.com.
Beacon's Mega Stocktake Sale is now on. Enjoy reduced prices on all our stock at all Beacon lighting stores across Australia or online. That's mega savings on all our stock during our Mega Stocktake Sale.
Australia's Gary Flynn went into the 200-metre wheelie bin final, the rank outsider. What happened next made elite average games history.
Quickly into the bend. Oh no! The Dutchman's hit the deck. There's a pile-up. Call the council. Flynn's hit the front. Our man's going to win. Gold for Australia.
TV ads out of this, JB.
Another make it look easy moment from Sportsbet.
We miss you. Come for dinner. We're getting Hungry Jack's delivered.
Feed the family. Get Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menu Lock. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
Cleansing your sensitive skin with soap is not enough. Try Garnier Micellar Water. Its micelles attract makeup and dirt like a magnet. Remove makeup better than soap. Cleanse and soothe. For powerful cleansing, use Micellar Water by Garnier, naturally.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Welcome back. A Sydney family of 5 is homeless tonight after fire ripped through their home in Guildford just before dawn. The house on Woodville Road was gutted by the blaze before firefighters could extinguish it. Investigators say the cause is not suspicious. Insurers will now assess the damage. The Reserve Bank decided against a cut to its official interest rate. Network Finance Editor Gemma Acton joins me now. Gemma, why no change?
Well, Mark, the Reserve Bank Board said it will keep rates low for as long as needed, but added the economy is actually looking a little better than it was a month ago. The RBA's left the official rate at 0.25%, despite Westpac's Bill Evans urging it to consider a negative interest rate. That'd make borrowing cheaper and take some of the wind out of the Australian dollar's sails. It's now buying around 68 US cents. It's up 20% since March, and that's making life a little harder for our exporters who are trying to sell goods and services overseas. Meantime, NAB data shows online spending was up by 58% in April. That's the highest jump on record, with takeaway food, games and toys leading the way. Australians are also feeling more confident. That's with the pandemic coming under control locally and lockdown restrictions easing. Mark.
Confidence helps. Gemma, thank you. A Central Coast cleaner who was called in after a fatal building fire faced court today, accused of stealing from the dead artist. Police say Anthony Jones robbed the warehouse over several weeks and claim he almost got away with $160,000 worth of art.
Anthony Jones collected art by allegedly stealing it.
Mr. Jones, did you steal from a dead man?
Today, why on court he refused to pose for a portrait after facing a magistrate over allegations he stole these artworks from the scene of a fatal fire at the entrance. Investigators say Jones was contracted to clean the studio where popular artist Patrick Carroll was killed in October. Instead, the 50-year-old is accused of secretly shifting Mr. Carroll's valuable works to his Maitland unit. Police have since returned the art to the 69-year-old's distressed daughters.
Were you stashing the art at your home?
A 13-year-old boy who allegedly started the blaze is also before the courts, charged with manslaughter.
Court documents reveal Anthony Jones allegedly stole 87 pieces of art over a 7-week period. He's accused of pinching a range of works, including sculptures and paintings, valued at more than $160,000.
Jones's case was adjourned. He'll return to court in 2 weeks. Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
In Russia, Vladimir Putin has taken a big step towards securing his presidency well into the next decade. Speaking during a video meeting with officials, the long-term leader named July the 1st as the date for a constitutional plebiscite, which could extend his rule for another 16 years. It was postponed in April due to the corona pandemic, but Mr Putin says the pace of the outbreak has now slowed enough to hold the vote safely. NASA's astronauts from the SpaceX launch are settling into their new surrounds high above the Earth on the International Space Station. They even had some encouraging words on the troubling times down below.
Anything is possible. You know, we've had a really rough couple of months, and just to be able to show the country what the agency's made of.
The astronauts also showed off a small American flag that flew on the first ever space shuttle flight in 1981. Pay freeze protest, the powerful message from our frontline staff. Next, a show of support from the Royals. Also, emotional farewell tributes for the young boy killed in a horror truck accident. Live cattle class action, the landmark ruling, how much compensation are farmers seeking? And emerging from the lockdown, parts of Europe come back to life. That's next.
Hello, Australia. Are you ready for Monday, 7:30? Welcome to my brand new house. I have searched for a new breed of housemate.
I'm a mum of two. People will never pick that I am a woodwork teacher.
I'm known throughout Adelaide as Adelaide's worst driver.
I'm really competitive in life.
AFL didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but Big Brother is something that I know I can win.
Daring to try to do it or die.
But nothing will prepare them for what I've got planned.
What are you playing at?
I am Big Brother, and I'll see you Monday, 7:30.
G'day and welcome to another What's for Dinner segment brought to you by Coles.
We're Mick and Jodie Ann from Champagne Food on a Beer Budget, and tonight we're super proud to be cooking with Uncle Ben's 90-second Mexican-style rice to make our delicious, full of flavour chicken fajitas.
Alright, let's show them how easy it is. So we're just going to prep our capsicum and onion, nice long thin strips.
So while Mick's getting that pan hot, I'm going to start in guacamole. Now watch this, guys. This is what we want you to do. Onto the board.
You know, a bit of that too.
Bit of coriander will be magic. Oh, lime juice, most important.
Just getting that ready for you. Good, squeeze lime juice in there.
All of that, I want that all in there. Beautiful. Excellent. That's our guacamole done. So I'm going to hook into this spice rub, and it's all the flavours of Mexico, which is exactly what we want. So the next step, which we can do together, if you want to look after the veggies that you've done and I'll look after the chicken that I've done, we're going to add the seasoning.
Add seasoning and straight into a nice hot pan.
That's starting to look fabulous.
Yes, so we've left these veggies just sit for 5 minutes.
Mexico, here we come.
I've just made ourselves a bit of a hole in the middle.
So I'm going to put the chicken in.
Right, so same thing again, we're just going to let that sit for a minute before we add the next and final ingredients.
Absolutely, which is our Uncle Ben's Mexican style rice. Now the thing with this stuff, guys, is that we're going to add it straight to the pan because it'll cook in the pan. It's already got its flavours and its herbs, spices already in the packet. But the other thing is...
90 seconds.
In the microwave.
Microwave it for 90 seconds.
Absolutely.
Now we've actually done it that way in the past, but because we're doing a one dish, one pan wonder for you, this in 90 seconds is really good flavours in the rice.
Absolutely. Not only is it quick, but it's flavoursome. Yay! I love that. Look at that. Last thing you want to do is a bit of coriander, if you like coriander, but definitely a squeeze of lime. Well, I think that looks fantastic.
Now for the fun part.
Absolutely.
Then I want some Uncle Ben's rice.
Yum.
That's me.
So guys, give this recipe a go. It serves 4 people.
For this and more great recipes, just head to the website.
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Welcome back. The public service pay freeze is now headed to court after State Parliament blocked the plan an hour ago. The government lost the vote despite the Premier warning thousands more workers could lose their jobs.
Fire trucks and nurses from the front line to the picket line.
No ifs, no buts, no second chance.
Condemning the government's wage freeze and the Premier's compromise offer.
Nurses and midwives won't be bribed by $1,000. We didn't come down in the last shower.
Protests in chalk on ambulances, paramedics refusing to bill patients.
That means ambulance rides across New South Wales will be free until further notice.
On a special day with a royal salute.
Today on Australia's inaugural Thank a First Responder Day, you all deserve our huge thanks.
But instead, an industrial fight when frontline services have never been more vital. Workers guarding the public's health from COVID now being asked to protect the health of the economy. But in return, the government says, for job security, warning it's more than most other workers can hope for.
We are facing the prospect in a very short period of time of having hundreds and thousands of extra people looking for a job in this state.
This afternoon, an opposition motion to block the pay freeze was put to Parliament, supported by minor parties.
For the government now to say, thanks for that, but here's a kick in the guts, is just totally unacceptable to us.
The government says it will now go to the Industrial Court. Chris Marr, 7 News.
A young terrorist who conspired to murder police accountant Curtis Cheng in Parramatta in 2015 is appealing the length of his sentence. Malad Attar claims the 38-year jail term isn't fair. His lawyer concedes his client is evil but says not as evil as the others involved in the deadly shooting. The Court of Criminal Appeal has reserved its decision. The federal court has ruled the Gillard government's ban on live cattle exports to Indonesia was unlawful. Exporters launched a class action in 2014 seeking $600 million in compensation for lost income.
We've had a great outcome from the courts that have recognised the reckless decision made by the then government that decimated and devastated an agricultural industry.
Compensation will be discussed at a later hearing. Tourists are back at the Colosseum in Rome as parts of Europe ease their pandemic lockdown. The famous landmark has new health checks in place after being closed for nearly 3 months. Meantime, Spain has had its first day without a COVID-19 death since March. Britain is reopening at a much slower pace, just a few select businesses allowed to trade, with fears of a second wave of coronavirus. A heartbroken father who accidentally hit and killed his 5-year-old son has spoken of the young boy's love of trucks. Harrison Sproul died when he was pinned behind a truck his father was parking at the family business. Today, he was remembered as a cheeky boy who loved travelling.
Harrison Sproul spent most of his short life travelling the open road in a big rig.
You could pick out a Kenworth at 3 years old.
Such was his love of trucks. He earned the nickname Road Train Harry.
Do you drive the Road Train Harry? The response was, yep, but only in the dark.
So it was only fitting his final journey would be on the back of a Kenworth prime mover. Today, hundreds mourned as Harrison was remembered as a typically cheeky yet unique 5-year-old boy. Due to restrictions, most watched a live stream of the service from the footpath outside Camden Baptist Church. His time here was short-lived, but the effect he had on people was enormous. Harrison was killed when the truck his father Doug was driving pinned him against another truck at the family's Picton business, his dad blaming himself for the tragedy.
Sorry, that's all I can say.
You don't have to be sorry, it was an accident.
Your mum and dad will miss you, H.U. Pie. We will see you again. Keep trucking, little man.
Harrison Sproul, the boy in the truck. Peter Fegan, 7 News.
A Sydney council has given the green light to a coronavirus memorial sculpture. Next, some are calling it bizarre should the project go ahead. Plus, Australia's new streaming service, the deals, the content, how does it compare? What a yawn. Some sleepy panda cubs enjoy a nap on the job.
Soon in sport, the winless and desperate Bulldogs and Dragons are preparing to do battle, so who's in and who's out? Team News is coming up.
Extreme wind chill today, little change tomorrow. Your forecast soon.
Every minute you bond with him is a lie. The father with not long left. What happens when you can't hide that you're sick anymore?
I don't know.
If she breaks her silence, it will break his heart. I just couldn't keep lying to you. Home and Away, next on 7.
Why don't you come? Why don't you come? The pleasure's all mine, never getting old. If you're looking for me, I'll be dancing in my own way.
Omtanke isn't just a word. It's a new perspective, a considerate, more caring one. Omtanke, we welcome you to try it. Volvo.
What can you get at Kogan.com? You can make a family, bake a family, escape your family, protect your family, destroy your family, entertain your family? Oof, maybe not. Get a quick smart at Kogan.com.
As a Lucra Super member, you get a hands-on approach to your superannuation. Lucra Super is your industry super fund. Together, we are working for a better future.
Should I be worried?
With COVID-19 Health Assist, eligible members can receive health advice from hundreds of Medibank healthcare experts at no extra cost. See how we're providing better support today.
Come on, everyone! On the front!
Donate some of your data to kids who need it most and power their potential.
The rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
At UE, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. So we're giving our clients and new clients temporary relief on their car insurance premiums if they're using their cars less right now. Go to UE.com.au. UE. You insured.
The Amazon mid-year sale is live now. Time to get great deals on electronics, fashion, homewares and more. Shop amazon.com.au. Easy as.
The Reserve Bank's tentative optimism today boosted the share market, the ASX closing 16 points higher. Retailers and tech stocks were among the top performers, but the big miners took a hit. And our dollar is at a 4-month high, buying 68 US cents. Petrol prices have levelled off, the average $1.03.3 for a second day in a row. Still plenty going cheap though, it's selling for under 93 cents a litre at Hoxton Park. Woolworths is thanking its staff for their hard work during the corona crisis by handing out bonuses to at least 100,000 employees. Full-time staff are receiving shares worth $750 and $250 in gift cards.
There's no better way of recognising someone's efforts than granting them a modest share of ownership in the group in which they've put incredible effort into building.
Part-timers will also be rewarded, the total cost estimated at more than $50 million. Tonight, some angry Northern Beaches councillors are trying to stop a controversial plan to spend at least $100,000 on coronavirus artwork. Some locals say it's a waste of money when so many are jobless and businesses are struggling.
From cruise ship debacles to thousands out of work, even toilet paper shortages, Northern Beaches Council is convinced it must preserve corona memories as art.
Council's cut infrastructure funding by $20 million. They've cut new footpath spending from $3 million to $2.2 million, and at a time when people are really struggling.
Whether it's the world's most infamous virus in metal, our once most fought over commodity, or the liberty we lost in lockdown, there's no limit to the artist's inspiration.
I'd love to tell you what it would look like, but I can't because I'm just looking forward to what our artists come up with.
And while some statues overseas have been COVID converted on the cheap, the council has voted to raid a $1.7 million fund to spend up big on art between Manly and Palm Beach.
Why should we forget? It's history. Seriously.
This whole idea initially gained support because it was going to be funded by donations from members of the public, but when none came forward, the proponents went back to council and said ratepayers should cough up.
Oh, mate, it's complete rubbish.
It probably could be spent on more useful things at this time.
Those supporting the idea hope to have the artwork on display in the new year. Evan Batten, 7 News.
China has celebrated Children's Day with a special appearance from 3 new panda cubs born in March. All they do at the moment is sleep, eat and roll around, but keepers say they're healthy and growing well. 2 of the cubs have been named after traditional Chinese food, one a noodle dish, the other a baked pancake. If you use streaming services to watch your favourite shows, you're certainly not alone. Now Netflix has a new rival set to change the game for Aussie viewers. We break down the best deals soon on 7 News. But now Mel is here with Sport. Mel, the Eels have revealed the secret to their success.
They have, Fergo. The Eels say it's all about the C word, culture. We'll hear from Mitchell Moses next, along with Matt Moylan from the winless Sharks. Plus, the growing number of Englishmen descending upon the nation's capital and helping steer the Raiders into premiership favouritism. And the player tipped to replace the injured Lance Franklin gets the backing of Swans co-captain Josh Kennedy.
It's not for the faint-hearted, this job.
They're on a massive rescue mission.
It's stinking hot out there.
There's blokes out there that want the friggin' water.
But are they the ones that'll need rescuing?
Bloody hell, it's hot. Mate, I haven't had a shower since I left.
New Outback Truckers, tonight on Mate.
The power's in your hands and at your feet. The BMW 320i sedan from 69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
We're ready to get back out there again. As we do,
it's up to all of us to stay COVID safe. Anytime you leave your house, wash your hands regularly. Keep physical distance where you can. Have the COVID Safe app on your phone. And importantly, if you're feeling sick, you need to stay at home and get tested. Together, we can reduce the risk of a second wave. Stay COVID-free and do the 3.
Authorised by the Chief Medical Officer, Canberra.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
A few days ago, James had neck pain. Then he discovered Voltaren ML Gel. It relieves pain 2 times faster and reduces inflammation. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Little things add up in retirement. Are you confident you can pay for them? Using part of your super or savings, invest in a Challenger lifetime annuity and you'll enjoy guaranteed income for life. Find out more at challenger.com.au.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
Which delicious new Arnott's Cracker Chips flavour will you try first? Hickory ribs with sticky glaze or mozzarella and basil bruschetta? Arnott's Cracker Chips, oven roasted, never fried.
There you go, Swagger.
Steve? Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Breaking down the headlines.
Reopen the economy could be fast-tracked.
New treatment could be just months away.
The team Australia turns to, Sunrise. 7 News has 50 family passes to give away to the reopening Sydney Zoo. Go to 7news.com.au/Sydney Zoo with tonight's code word.
Welcome back. Matt Moylan says he's ready to step up and help Cronulla end their winless start to the season. The former Origin star is finally over niggling calf and hamstring injuries and wants to become the 80-minute player the Sharks so desperately need.
3 straight losses, a positive drugs test and key injuries. Cronulla's season is in danger of spiralling out of control, and they know it.
0-4 is a long way to come back from, so we just got to be desperate and fight.
Andrew Fafita and Chad Townsend are in doubt to take on North Queensland on Saturday night, but there is good news. Cowboys superstar Jason Taumalolo is out with a knee injury, and after coming off the bench against the Tigers, Matty Moylan says he's ready to play the full 80 minutes again.
I feel pretty confident. I think worked hard on getting my hammy and calf under control.
While the Sharks are on their knees, the unbeaten Eels are buzzing and say it's down to the culture instilled by Clint Gutherson.
His attitude and to training and, you know, how he gets the boys up, his morale around the team, he's outstanding, and that's why he's our captain.
On Saturday, Parramatta hosts Manly, another side that's flying high after stern self-examination. Joel Thompson decided to give up alcohol 7 months ago after a serious accident.
Honestly, the best decision that I've made. I was an absolute clown on the drink.
Michelle Bishop, 7 News.
Raiders sensation George Williams says he never feared Ricky Stuart's famously low tolerance for misfiring halfbacks. Williams has joined a posse of Englishmen making Canberra title favourites, and it's easy to see why Ricky's a big fan.
The accents are getting thicker in the capital, but the message is fairly clear. George Williams is a humble halfback.
I'm quite a quiet person, and I'll keep my head down and work hard as I normally do. I'm not getting carried away. It was one good game, and I've got to back that up now.
He's a real good kid. He's really humble and stuff. He works hard, and he's a great player.
Williams joined a trio of English stars who urged Ricky Stuart to sign Wigan's dual title winner. A 10 out of 10 in the win over the Storm. With his own impossible standards, Ricky has a reputation for riding his halfbacks hard.
You know, a lot of people have asked me that question. He's been great with me. He's not rushed me, like I said. He's said to me, go and play your game. I wouldn't say I was scared, obviously I was excited more than anything to work under him.
3 from 3, conceding just a try a game.
You could lose the next 2 games and you'd all be saying we
Sam Burgess's frank criticism of Wayne Bennett's tactics might keep him out of the Bunnies bubble.
I don't know, mate. You have to ask Wayne.
Whether it's Latrell at fullback or Cameron Murray's shift from middle to edge, there's little time for patience in a shortened season.
Obviously, it hasn't all fallen into place yet. Hopefully, we'll just keep gradually getting better and better, and hopefully we'll click soon.
They didn't name James Roberts to face the Storm. Cameron Smith means business. The ISO beard is gone. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Ben Hunt has survived a Dragons reshuffle. They dumped Matt Duffy. Corey Norman goes to fullback. Hunt will play 5'8" alongside 24-year-old rookie halfback Adam Clune. A loss could finish either coach on Monday, but the Bulldogs have Kieran Foran back for his 200th game. There's no sour grapes about Harry Grant's arrival at the Tigers.
I love Harry. He's one of my good mates from Melbourne, and so to have him here, I'm really happy.
Andrew McCullough replaces injured knight Connor Watson. Kalen Ponga's return bumps Tex Hoy to the bench. Isaac Heaney will spend even more time in the Swans forward line after Lance Franklin's hamstring injury. Heaney started up forward in round 1 and will play a similar role against Essendon at the SCG on Sunday week.
Really stands out in terms of his overall ability, his strength, speed, endurance. He's a tremendous athlete.
And we finish with this powerful image from Anfield where 29 Liverpool players took a knee at training, a show of solidarity for the Black Lives Matter movement. Yet another powerful statement made, Fergo, happening right around the world.
Yeah, powerful sign at an extraordinary time.
Yeah, it is.
Mel, thank you. Australia's big lineup of content streaming services just got a little bigger with a new player launching into what's already a crowded field. Binge has exclusive rights to blockbuster series including Game of Thrones and is priced to go head-to-head with Netflix and Stan.
Being at home and in lockdown has meant more people are streaming online entertainment than ever before.
Streaming services have actually gone through the roof.
In Australia, we're spoiled for choice. Around 5 million of us subscribe to streaming giant Netflix, a basic plan costing $9.99 with a focus on original content. Local streaming service Stan has around 1.7 million customers and costs the same. Newcomer Apple TV Plus is $7.99. KO, specifically for sports fans, is pricier at $25 a month, while Disney Plus, aimed at the kids, is gaining momentum. And for free, there's 7 Plus, with plenty of local and overseas content.
Yeah, there's lots of free streaming options through Catch Up.
Now, a new player has entered the arena. Binge is a streaming service boasting 10,000 hours of content and 800 movies. It includes Game of Thrones, Chernobyl, Big Little Lies and Modern Family, also starting at $10 a month.
Offers a huge back catalogue of programs as well as some new movies.
On average, Australians spend about $35 a month on streaming services. The question from the experts, is there room for another player as competition for content heats up?
The instant gratification is something we're used to. Press a button and watch what you want. Streaming is definitely here to stay.
Samantha Brett, 7 News.
David is back now with the latest forecast, Brownie. It was a chilly one today.
Oh yeah, indeed, Fergo, but some sunshine should help tomorrow. Local forecast straight after the break.
Hello, tonight on the latest from 7 News, we're live across the USA as protesters ignore those curfews after Donald Trump's controversial battle cry. Our team is standing by tonight in 5 of the hot zones there. Meanwhile, Australia reaches a coronavirus milestone worth celebrating, and finally some positive news for our property market. Hope you can join me for those stories and every breaking development tonight. The latest from 7 News.
So what triggers this guy? Or who?
Everything they've ever learned.
Where else do you go?
Everything they've ever done.
Who else do you hurt?
Has all been leading to this.
Us. They come after us.
The killer final season of Criminal Minds. Tonight at 9 on 7.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
TAFE New South Wales is open.
Be whatever you want to be with connected learning programs, combining virtual and face-to-face teaching in a socially responsible manner. Search TAFE New South Wales or call 131 601.
Thanks for calling ING. This is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry, and she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
While we're all having nights in, make yours a big night in. Because this year you could win up to $8,000 worth of prizes from a huge range. Woolworths Big Night In. There's a new winner every day.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of staycations, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
For a limited time, switch to Energy Australia and get a $50 electricity credit and a $50 gas credit. Plus, with Total Plan, get a total energy bill discount guaranteed. Join Energy Australia today.
Plush Sofa's end of financial year sale is now on. Shop in showroom or online with up to 50% off everything and 48 months interest free.
Even remotely, our home loan specialists can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Get PointsBet's new racing form from RaceNet. PointsBet, offers you won't believe, moments you'll never forget.
When the road calls, here's the very best way to answer. The BMW X3 S-Drive 20i from $69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
Her secret could break his heart. I just couldn't keep lying to you. Home and Away, next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by the BMW 3 Series.
Tonight in 7 News headlines, one of our camera crew attacked by police in Washington DC, the Prime Minister ordering an investigation into the brutality. The United States descends further into anarchy, Donald Trump declaring himself the president of law and order, vowing to use military might. Crowds are tonight flooding Sydney CBD in solidarity with American protesters. And New South Wales takes another step out of the COVID lockdown, with gyms set to reopen on June the 13th and children's sport to resume on July the 1st. Now for the latest on Sydney's weather, here's David.
Thanks very much, Fergo. High wind chill today as forecast. Snow dusted the northern ranges in and around Armidale, as you saw earlier in our news. Now, it was cold today, yep, top 15.1 degrees. That's it. And by the way, that's about 2 degrees below average for this time of year. As we go into the suburbs, showers, well, slipped across the eastern half of the metro area this morning. 5 millimetres in Little Bay is the highest fall. 1 millimetre only in Parramatta, but in the west, not a drop at all. Clear skies at the moment. Now, the trough that was behind the showery conditions continues to move out further to sea, as we can see. Down south, though, we're keeping an eye on this. It's a cold front. It is crossing Tasmania. The system will bring some showers to the southern ranges, a little bit of snow as well as it passes through during the wee hours of tomorrow morning. But the thing we're looking out for is this rather vigorous southerly surge that will follow. It's expected to reach strong to gale force along most of our coastal fringe. So high wind chill returns. Nationwide, clear skies in Brisbane and around 21 degrees tomorrow. Melbourne, another cold and showery day. It's only 14 degrees. Some hail is likely during the afternoon. Clear skies for Adelaide around 16. Perth should be fine and mild and sunny too, around 23 degrees. Coastal gales are expected to run from the border right through to our coastal zone tomorrow. Strong wind up to the north, that's the warning area. It will be a dry day for most of our state, and again cold throughout. A top of 0 degrees expected there at Thredbo, dropping down to -3 overnight. For us, extreme wind chill will return to our coastal suburbs during, well, probably the early part of the afternoon as that southerly surge powers through. It will be a dry and partly cloudy day, but we will get more sunshine than today, so it should feel somewhat better. But to our coastal waters forecast, there it is, big messy waves developing during the afternoon as that gale force southerly wind kicks in. For the city, our forecast top is 18 degrees, sunshine at times for your Wednesday, and dropping down to 10 overnight. Quick look now at that 7-day outlook. Yes, the cold winds will drop out on Thursday, a little bit of cloud. As for Friday, a frosty start is expected to unfold in our west, then clear conditions. As for most of the weekend, generally fine. Coastal showers likely on Sunday. So it's a cold week ahead, Fergo.
Sure is, Branny. Thank you. That is 7 News for this Tuesday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.
Are you